Is the new Billie Eilish Intense a complete waste of a release, and how does it compare to the original Billie Eilish as well as Nebras by Lattafa? I have many thoughts on this whole release, so let's get into it. So first off, I love the original Billie Eilish perfume. I really think that it is one of the best celebrity perfumes on the market. I think it's fantastic. I've heard some people feel like I've heard some people say that they feel like it can be a bit synthetic. I think maybe I can kind of understand what they're saying, but for me, I don't get that. At least it doesn't pull that way on my skin. I think it's a very enjoyable, easy to wear, warm, slightly spicy, vanilla, a little bit chocolatey type of fall scent that is just very likable, very gourmand approved type of scent. So I love that DNA. Nebras by Lattafa, I like it as well. Very popular, one of the most viral perfumes by Lattafa, but I've always enjoyed the original Billie Eilish fragrance more than Nebras because I find the original Billie Eilish scent to be a little bit sweeter than Nebras. My theory on why that may be, I could be totally wrong here. My theory is that because Nebras has the sugar note listed in the base, in the very bottom, whereas the Billie Eilish scent has the sugar notes in the top, maybe I'm getting, the sugar in the Billie Eilish fragrance, quicker, immediately, more in your face, and so that's why it comes off sweeter to me. I don't know. But either way, it always comes off sweeter to me, so I enjoy the Billie Eilish one more. However, where I will say Nebras wins over the original Billie Eilish is in the performance and projection. I think, especially now after having the bottle for months, it definitely outperforms it. So when I heard that they were going to be coming out with Billie Eilish Intense, I was very excited, because I love the DNA, and everything around the marketing was saying that it is, supposed to be richer, more intense, deeper, just, a more intense version of the original. Billie Eilish herself said that she likes to wear the original Billie Eilish during the day and the new intense version during the night. So I was like, oh wow, to me, that's, this is going to really be a fragrance then that is going to completely outperform the original one and is going to feel maybe a little bit sexier, a little bit, deeper, darker, because it's now nighttime. I don't know about that, guys. I will say, after testing this out, well, first of all, the new Billie Eilish Intense, as expected, I think, because it's just an intense version, does smell almost identical to the original. So you're definitely not getting, a new scent whatsoever. I wouldn't consider it, a flanker in that way. It really is just a slightly more intense version. I feel like when you initially spray it, you get more of like a stronger woody undertone, a woody base. But as time goes on, honestly, guys, it really does become like the exact same thing as the original. Again, not that is shocking because it's supposed to be an intense version, but when I think intense, I don't just think a little bit more woods in the opening. I think the entire profile of the scent, everything feels or should feel dialed up and more intense. I do not expect that after an hour it should smell the exact same as the original, because then that kind of defeats the whole, oh, you wear one during the morning and you wear one during the nighttime. It's like you could have worn the one in the morning at nighttime, I guess, and just oversprayed it. So it's almost identical. So that was disappointing. In terms of the longevity and projection, because that's the other part that's important, right? With an intense, are you going to perform better than the original? And I would say slightly yes. It does perform longer on my skin than the original. However, I did not feel that the performance on this one was so much more crazy, intense that it warranted a whole new release. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit annoyed with this release because it feels like it's kind of playing into a reoccurring trend that I've been seeing, not just me, that I think people in general, consumers have been seeing with some of the new fragrance releases. And this has been happening for a while, but I think for whatever reason, maybe it's because of dupe culture giving us alternative options, or we just seeing it a lot more. It's becoming a bit more evident that it feels as if brands will release a perfume at like the EDP strength and then wait a couple years and then give us the quote unquote intense or elixir or extrait de parfum version. And it's like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Why are you not just releasing the extrait or intense version first? This perfume, the Billie Eilish Intense, in my opinion, should have just been released first. And I don't believe that it was like, oh, we didn't know we could make it stronger. You knew you could make it stronger. You made so many different versions of the fragrance. I'm sure you had this and you're like, no, let's hold off on to this one. Let's release the EDP and then we'll release this one in a couple of years that's like 15% stronger. And I just find it irritating. So if you have the original Billie Eilish fragrance and you love the Billie Eilish fragrance, you don't like Nebras, and you want to know if the Intense one is worth getting, my personal opinion and recommendation would be finish your current bottle. You definitely don't need to run out and get the Intense. It's not that different. But once you finish your current bottle, if you know you want to get the Billie Eilish again, that's when I would get the Intense, because the Intense is what the original should have been. Now, for those of you who like Nebras by Lattafa and are wondering how do they compare. So similar to what I said about the original one, I do still like the actual smell of the Intense better because it still comes off sweeter to me. That's just my personal taste. However, in terms of performance, neck and neck. Honestly, I do not smell or experience a strikingly difference in performance from either of these fragrances. They are neck and neck on par with each other. So for most people who enjoy Nebras, please do not feel like you are missing out on anything with the Billie Eilish Intense. I really don't think you are. And that, I think, is part of why, the whole, like, why are you guys releasing these fragrances later is, coming up more and more, because we can compare it to fragrances that you can get for less than $40. I've seen Nebras priced at $20 sometimes. And it is so close to the original. Again, it's just a little bit less sweet. But aside from that, it's so close. So it really makes you start to question, what exactly are you paying for, with the original release? And that's not always the case, with a dupe versus its original. But sometimes it's a little bit questionable. I feel like another conversation that I've been seeing pop up a lot more recently is this phenomenon that people are pointing out, saying that it looks like some of the designer fragrances, or it feels as if some of the designer and niche fragrances, but more so designer, are now duping the dupes of their own dupe. Case in point, this would be an example. To some people, this feels like because Nebras is, stronger than the original Billie Eilish and already smells very close, that when you then come out with Billie Eilish Intense, which performs to me like the exact same way as Nebras, are you like now duping the stronger version of your own perfume that was done by Lattafa because you saw how successful it was? I don't know. Can't prove that, but it's interesting. Another recent release that is drawing that comparison is the Gucci Gorgeous Orchid. Now, you guys know that when I talked about the Gucci Gorgeous Orchid, I think it was a few months ago, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I didn't like the cocoa note in there, and I felt like I was just going to be good with sticking with Ethereal because Ethereal is stronger than the original Gucci Gorgeous anyways, and that was the only thing that you were getting from the Gucci Gorgeous Intense to me. Is just a little bit of improvement with the projection and longevity, but I, again, didn't like the cocoa note. Now people are saying that also looks like Gucci may have seen the success and love of Ethereal and went in an Intense version. Now, are these, theories true? Who knows? Maybe not. I kind of feel like it might have something to do with it, that people, really want strong perfumes these days. They're seeing how successful these perfumes are, or they knew from the very beginning that they were going to be releasing the same DNA in waves with a weaker version and then an Intense version. Can't prove it, but they're just theories. But unfortunately, I think that they're wasted releases. I do. I think they'd be better off just coming up with a flanker. I don't understand the point of coming out with an Intense version from a designer perfume if there's already a very popular dupe that does the exact same thing, unless you're going to be doing something different. But that's just me. And I'm sure they still have a very loyal following and fan base that are like, I don't do dupes, I only do brand name. And so if there's a stronger version of my favorite perfume, I'm going to buy that, which if that is the case and there are a good amount of people in there, then, they're smarter than all of us and they know their fan base. And that could just be the reasoning. Whether or not I think it's silly or not doesn't really matter. So, anywho, I think it's overall a nice perfume, but unnecessary, and I wish it would have come out earlier. Because I have both that and Nebras, I personally will be grabbing the Billie Eilish Intense more because it's sweeter. But if you love Nebras, you definitely don't need to feel like you're missing out on anything. So let me know, guys, if the Billie Eilish Intense is one that you will be trying out. And if you have already tried it, what do you think about it? Do you like it more than Nebras or less? Let me know. And I will see you guys back tomorrow for our next episode.